Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ask Alice. I'm your host, Alice. Hi. So, as I said last week, we are going through a bunch of Ask Alice's that have come from my alpha reader, Andy. And this week, she asked me, how do I come up with the details and the fun things in my castles, in my stories? So, my books are right here. Let me just grab that. The Fallassen Castle that is in The Head, the Heart, and the Air, the one where, hey, my sweater matches my shirt, where Alex's mother lived when she was not a princess and all of that before, has that tree that is growing through the wall and through the courtyard and that. And I will be honest with you, I grew up, like I was born in Germany, so I've been to a lot of castle tours in Germany. There was actually a tree. I think it might have been the Auerbacher Schloss. I could be wrong though. I've been to so many. Could have been Burg Frankenstein. I'm not sure. I know it's not the Starkenburg, but there is a castle that I went to as a kid with my uncle, and it had a flippin' tree on the top, on one of those walkways around the castle. So it's been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. And that tree grew on the top of this castle, on the path where the knights and the guards would have walked around to keep an eye on things. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. Now, like I said, I was a kid. I took a photo of it. I no longer have the picture of it, but I still have that memory burned in my brain. And so when I wanted to make the Fallassen Castle cool, I went ahead and brought up that image in my head of that really cool tree, and I put that in there. I also grew up on a place called Peely Island. And so when I was trying to think about how to make a castle look decrepit and creepy, I thought of the ruins of the castles that I saw in Germany, but also the ruins of what was called the Vinvilla Estate on Peely Island. It was this really big and popular winery, and it burned down. So all that's left is like shell of the former villa that was burned out, and plants and everything were growing inside of it. So when I picture the outside of Alex's mother's castle, where it is all falling apart and crumbling, I can picture the way that the Vinvilla looks on the outside. I did a lot of exploring there as a child, probably more than my parents would have liked, probably going inside and deeper into the ruins a lot more than my parents would have liked. But that's the advantage when you grew up in the 80s and 90s. Your parents let you do crap like that. I would never let my kids do crap like that now, but mine let me. And so that is what I picture for the outside of the castle. The thing for the general castles, like in Warren, Dayton, that kind of stuff, I've just been to so many castles in Germany and walked through them and seen them that I just went Googling different castles to remember what I liked the most about the specific castles that I have been to several times in Germany. And then I took what I liked about those. I've also been to a lot of historic sites. Like in Canada, our oldest city is Quebec City. It's over 400 years old. And they have like an entire wall that went around the city, which is what inspired those dual walls that are around the city of Dayton and the castle to protect it from attack. So I was like, well, that made sense. Let's put a whole wall all the way around it to protect everything again. And then in my later book, so in Broken Sons, we get the addition of the Betrüger Castle as well as Alex's uncle Morlock's castle. And in his castle, I went a little crazy because it is in fact an enchanted castle. And so what I did for that is I made the castle has absolutely no candles and torches. Instead, at night, the entire ceiling lights on fire. And that is what illuminates the path for everybody who's wandering around. And the way I came up with that was I just simply thought, what would be a really cool magical way to light a room without the uselessness of mortal candles or torches and that kind of thing. And because he is a fire sorcerer, or one of his big skills is fire, I loved the idea that he has enchanted the entire ceiling to just burn, and then he never has to turn any lights on or deal with any torches or candles burning out. Literally the ceiling lights up for him. And if you think about it, when he's working in the lab or in the library and he's reading, the ceiling being on fire would provide a ridiculous amount of light for you, more than any just like one or two candles would. And so for him, that's the easiest way to light the entire room without any work on his part. It's like you do one spell and you're done kind of thing. And it also just came off as really cool and creepy, and that's one of the reasons I love it as well. And I mean, his castle has hidden rooms and like things that look like a wall isn't there, but there is in that. So clearly, if it's a crazy sorcerer's castle, it's got to have some fun, weird magic to it. And that it also looks like a ruin from the outside to people who see it or can't be seen at all. So making the inside to be a little special too was clearly something that I had to do. And for the Betrügers, I thought a little bit more. They're in a mountain, so there is a couple of castles around the world that are built right into mountains. And because the castle was in the mountains, I thought, how would you camouflage a castle in the mountains? You would build it into the mountain so that it can't be seen. It's also something like if you think about Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep, where it's inside the castle like that, or even the entrance to the Mines of Moria, where it can only be seen under a specific light. So I love the idea that the castle is so camouflaged that it's only visible for people who don't know it's there a couple of times a day when the light hits it just right. And that's what I did with the Betruger, because I thought it would be cool to have a castle that kind of vanishes because it's so built from the earth that it's around that you can't really notice it. And that's how I came up with that. I just thought it would be really fun and cool. So if you have a question for me, drop it in the comments and I can answer it on another week's Ask Alice. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day and thank you so much for stopping by. Bye!